with churches for some time, especially now more than ever, to do church online. And what I'm hoping to accomplish with this podcast today is to give out some important information for our churches, again, as they are trying to cope with these unprecedented and challenging times. So why don't we start from a basic point, which is what does church online mean? And again, that might be another loaded question, but
Sure.
uh, just in an overview sense, as we start to hear this term fly around a little bit more, what does it mean to do church online?
That's great. So, the average church pre-coronavirus, when they would hear the phrase church online, they would think it would mean the broadcasting of their Sunday morning services in an online format, Facebook, somewhere on social media, YouTube, even to their own website. And so it's basically taking that 1 hour Sunday service that happens live within a physical environment and putting it live online with that. The reason, and honestly, even going back years, and I'm on record through blogs and podcasts on this, church is more than the 1 hour on Sunday. Like the entity of church, the functionality, the biblical function that God calls us to do is represented more than just the 1 hour service. And so the challenge of what I've been saying for a while is our church needs to represent more than just the service online. Like there's joining together in small groups, being part of biblical community. There's challenging people to be on mission, serving communities locally, and even being on mission globally. There's discipleship, and there's all sorts of other churchy words I could throw out, but there's more than what just happens in that 1 hour broadcast. And so I had built my platform, my company, around helping churches wrestle with this. And there are other guys that do this. It's not like I'm the only one. It's funny. There's like this brotherhood of the people who think this way around the country, and we hang out online and we talk about it and we share stories. But what happened with coronavirus is there's this now shift where the majority of churches, I mean, probably there's 350,000 evangelical churches in America today. Pre-coronavirus, I would say maybe 7,000 are broadcasting online, and that's actually probably a liberal guesstimate. And honestly, like the idea of even discipling someone online, the idea of doing these small groups, utilizing Zoom or things like that, discipleship happens in physical spaces pre-coronavirus. It does not happen online. It's not allowed to. So now that we don't have our buildings, we don't have our venues, our spaces, we cannot meet together. Churches are now are forced to this reconciliation place of realizing either we have to do discipleship online or we don't do discipleship for the foreseeable future, whatever that is. Now, if coronavirus is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's not, yeah, okay, maybe a small group can go a month without meeting. But worst case scenario, I don't even know if that's worst case scenario. What if this does go 2 to 3 months? What if this does go extend beyond that? By the way, what's the psyche of a person after being locked up for 3 months after going through this scenario? Do you think they're going to openly welcome run back to a building? I think there's actually a mistrust, a distrust that's being built right now with buildings. We even saw that the weeks leading up to coronavirus, as we started to see more and more of this happen, over in Asia, more and more in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest, where there was a distrust. Attendance was dropping at the church level. Why? Because I don't want to get sick. And I'll tell you, even just me as a personal level, if the CDC tells me, hey, it's completely safe to go back out into the world, I think I'm going to take like a week off and stay back and wait and see, because I don't know that I trust the CDC. Nothing against the CDC, but I don't want to be the guy to take that risk. There's something emotionally that's changing within people as a result of this. Coronavirus literally is changing culture almost to the hour, it feels like. With every CDC, when CDC made the announcement 6 days ago that they were going from 250 people to 50 people on a gathering, right there, that revolutionized things. The average church in America is 72 people right now, estimates would say. 80% of churches are under 200 members actively involved. So small churches by far make up the landscape of who we are, right? So I'm just going to make a wild guesstimate. I don't have any scientific facts behind this. I believe 20% of churches shut their doors and will not reopen. The longer that um, the longer that coronavirus goes, the less those churches have funding to stay open. And things like salaries, things like rent, things like lease, all these things are in place. And I think coronavirus, worst case scenario, churches aren't going to survive this. The longer this goes, the harder it's going to be. Now, what's ironic is online is such a cheaper option to go through to do these things. Go ahead, Anthony.